that time of year again, the Toronto International Film Festival 2024! And you're probably wondering, man, I want to get to at least one or two rush lines. I'm not seeing any premium screenings because that is bananas, the fact that you have to spend $80 to $100 to see a movie that, let's be honest, it's usually in a premium for a reason. But if you're in Toronto, and if you want to go, what are the movies that you need to check out? Well, I'm here to give you a guide to the movies that I personally would like to see, and other ones that I just find pretty weird. No, I'm not going to be going into what the hot ticket is this year, because I don't really know. You can search, you'll find something on Yahoo or other places. They'll give you all the really hot movies that people are interested in checking out. I mean, Megalopolis sure would be fun to see with a crowd, with Francis Ford Coppola, but that's coming out in 2 weeks, and they're only doing 2 premium screenings, so I'll have to wait to see the biggest budget Neil Breen film ever. But you may be asking, well, Justin, then do I check something out like David Gordon Green directing Ben Stiller, taking care of a bunch of orphans, The Nutcracker, or wait, just Nutcrackers, which is going to be the opening film of Tiff? No, why would you see that? The opening films of Tiff are usually cursed, and David Gordon Green, man, I really want to like the stuff that he does, but whew, man, it's been tough to get on that train for a very long while now. So what else is there, Justin? What are you excited about? Well, number one, let's start right from the beginning here. That the day before Tiff starts, on September 4th, the Tiff Midnight Madness programmer, Peter Kaplowski, is doing his own event. That's right, he programs 10 nights of films at the Toronto International Film Festival. The biggest stars, the biggest stage. But he takes time to do something right before. That me personally, I think it is the event of the season, Midnight Dankness. Now, it will be showing Conor O'Malley's Rap World. I love Conor O'Malley. If you've seen any of his shorts on the internet, like The Mask, or the first talk show that was ever done in a river. But this is like his, I think, longest form thing, which is he stars in it with a bunch of friends. And it's all about how they record a rap album in one night. It's a very funny mockumentary. It's 1 hour long. Conor O'Malley and the director will be there at Midnight Dankness. But that's just like a prelude, because if you're watching me, you may be familiar with the work of one Matt Farley. Matt Farley is a guy that's been working for decades now, probably most famous for writing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of songs, but he's also a filmmaker with Charlie Roxburgh. And Matt Farley, about a decade ago, almost as a goof, he did a biopic about himself called Local Legends. And Local Legends is one of the most insightful, funny, just documents of being a creative artist ever made. No contest. And it's all basically real, all about Matt Farley's life, making songs, making movies that nobody watches, and it's a delight. And Peter will be screening Local Legends at Midnight Dankness. And most importantly of all, Matt Farley will be there. This is his first international appearance, basically like the Beatles appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show. So he will be there doing an intro to Local Legends. There'll be a screening of Rap World, the Conor O'Malley film, followed up by the world premiere of Local Legends Bloodbath. Now, you hear the title Local Legends Bloodbath. It is a sequel to Local Legends. It sounds very goofy, kind of like he made a movie called Heard She Got Married, then he made a movie called Heard She Got Murdered. But what Local Legend Bloodbath does so well, and I've had the pleasure of seeing it, is that it is an insightful look at the dark side of what Local Legends was basically championing. The idea of like, okay, do it for art's sake. Do it, put it out in the world. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe you'll make money, but you have to do it. You don't know any other way to live your life. Local Legends looks at Matt Farley and really digs down and says, okay, maybe you've had success. Maybe you're making money, but are you happy? Because Matt Farley, you know, all those songs that I mentioned, his most popular ones are poop songs. Just where he sings about certain names, pooping, other stuff. He makes the most money out of anything that he does on that. And the movie digs into that. The fact that Matt Farley presents himself as a very affable, approachable guy. But is he really? It's very funny. Local Legend Bloodbath, starring, directed by Matt Farley. He will be there for that one as well. And that whole night, Local Legends, Rap World, Local Legends Bloodbath, with all of the creative people being there in that theater, man, that is, nothing will top that night. And that is the start right before Tiff. But it is programmed by one of the TIFF programmers, so technically it counts. All right, let's move to the films that you can actually find if you look at the TIFF websites. You got a new David Cronenberg film, The Shroud, starring Vincent Cassel. I believe Cronenberg has said it's one of his most personal films, which makes me very excited. Him working in low budgets, really digging into the things that he's obsessive with and that he can be passionate about. I'm really excited to see where this goes. You also have stuff like Saturday Night, the Jason Reitman movie about the first night of Saturday Night Live. Oh, I'm not excited about that. Like, Jason Reitman, man, I was excited when he did Thank You for Smoking, but anything after that has, Juno is pretty fun, but boy, that Ghostbuster movie. Anyway, that's playing, and that's one that you can probably skip because it's actually coming out on October 11th. That's the thing about a lot of these like big films, that unless you just want to go to see the star be on stage in front of you, if you wait a couple of weeks, it's going to come out. Because if it's a big film that's playing at the film festival, it probably wants some kind of awards attention. So just wait a couple of weeks, and then you'll be able to check it out for yourself. Then you have a new film by Luca Guadagnino, the director of Challengers, the Suspiria remake. It's called Queer, and it stars Daniel Craig, and it's based on a William S. Burroughs novel. That sounds interesting. A24 just picked that up for distribution, which, unlike the other movies that I just mentioned, will probably be a little while before it comes out, but it's going to open wide, so you'll be able to check it out if you want to at that time. You also have stuff that is interesting to me, just by the sheer novelty factor of it, like The Brutalist, an Adrian Brody movie. That's mostly interesting for me because it's 3+ hours and it was shot on 70mm. And at the Toronto International Film Festival, it will be playing on 70mm. And I will probably not see that version, unfortunately, because it's only playing in the Lightbox Cinema 1, and there's not that many seats, and there's only 2 screenings, and they've already sold out. So I'm basically recommending a movie that's really interesting, or it seems interesting, that may only exist on the novelty value of it, and that I can't see. But you could probably go into the rush line, and if anybody has a ticket and wants to throw it my way, listen, I will happily open my hand and take a ticket to The Brutalist and watch that 3+ hour running time of, man, I didn't even read the synopsis. I just saw, oh man, 70mm. I gotta check this out. 3+ hours. It must be good because it's so long, right? I love these kind of clearly passion projects. This one directed by the auteur behind Vox Lux. I mean, I'm interested. Anything that seems weird like that, I want to check out. Then you have other movies like The Luckiest Man in the World, which is basically a biopic about the guy that went on Press Your Luck and figured out the system and how to win. This is the kind of film that lives at TIFF, the weird ones that fall through the cracks, but it stars Paul Walter Hauser. I love that guy. So even if the film is middling, I mean, the story doesn't really interest me that much. You can find tons of articles about it online. There's probably even a bunch of documentaries about it, or at least one. But Paul Walter Hauser and the game show host in it is Walter Goggins. I love those 2 actors. If I get a chance to see that movie, I'm going to check it out. And finally, let's move to Midnight Madness. Midnight Madness is programmed, like I mentioned, Peter Koplowski, the guy who's doing Midnight Dankness, the #1 event that you should check out. And while I give a hearty recommendation to check them all out, I will unfortunately not be able to do that for the simple reason that I used to do that, but now, because I go see press screenings in the morning, and they're always at 9 a.m. If I catch the midnight one, I will only get 3 hours of sleep. And every time that I've gone to TIFF for probably the last 10 years, I get incredibly ill by the end of the festival just from lack of sleep. It's awful. I hate it. And I swore this year, I will not get sick. Please. I need to sleep. So I will not be attending all the Midnight Madnesses. But here are a few that are really exciting. I mean, everyone's excited for The Substance, which is the opening film at TIFF. It's supposed to be like a body horror, real blast, but unfortunately it's already sold out, and opening in 2 weeks. So if you want to check that one out, you can do that just a little bit later. There's also a little bit more under the wire ones, like the Dead Talents Agency, which has a great premise. It's a Taiwanese film about ghosts that need to scare people to still continue being ghosts, but it's also kind of like in an influencer world where the ghosts that have the greatest gimmick are stars, and it's about almost a All About Eve situation. Really fun, imaginative. It's going to kill with an audience. Speaking of films that it'll kill with an audience, action films, they always work like gangbusters. The director of Headshot and The Night Comes For Us has a new movie coming to TIFF that it is a Netflix film. I mean, Timo has basically been a Netflix guy for his last couple of movies, but it's one of the rare examples of it working in the favor of the filmmaker, that his kind of maximalist style, Netflix is like, yeah, go do whatever you want, whether it be an action comedy like his last film or the brilliance of Night Comes For Us. And now he's coming with The Shadow Strays, which he said is very much inspired by like Japanese Yakuza pictures, and you can expect like a lot of fights, a lot of gore. And it is a Netflix movie that's probably opening in a couple months, but it will not play anywhere in theater. So if you're in town, check out The Shadow Strays, because it's going to play gangbusters with an audience. And then you have other kind of like, you don't know anything about it other than the filmmaker. For example, Ick, which is the new Joseph Kahn film. I love Joseph Kahn's films. Torque, Bodied, which played Midnight Madness a couple of years ago. Detention, this like real, again, maximalist, hyper speed, so many ideas thrown as quickly as possible. And it's been a while since he's made a movie. He funds them basically all himself through all the money he makes doing music videos for people like Taylor Swift. So what you're going to see when you see Ick is like a pure personal vision. And I love that can go up on Midnight Madness screens. And that one has a really choice spot playing on the Saturday. Another one of the big hot tickets is probably Friend, which is the Paul Rudd, Tim Robinson film. I love Tim Robinson. He is so funny. And from what I've heard, this is more of his I Think You Should Leave shtick. So I got to be there. I got to see this Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd film right up there on the big screen. And then you have a bunch of films at TIFF that, you probably like these filmmakers. You got Cloud, the new Kiyoshi Kurosawa film. You also have Rumors, the new Guy Maddin picture, which I hear is his most conventional one yet, even though it features a giant brain in the promotional image. And of course, by the stream, the new Hong Sang-soo picture. Listen, if you can't make it, if you can't go to those pictures, just know that those filmmakers have filmographies that are massive, and you've probably not seen all of them. If you have, I'm sorry you can't see this new one, especially if you're in town. But if you haven't, man, Kiyoshi Kurosawa, go check out his back catalog. Hong Sang-soo, have you seen that movie that you see on that list? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's just a memory. There's tons of like world cinema that I don't really know anything about, that I was kind of like flicking through as I was going. Some that really pop out, like the Indian film Superboys of Maglan, which is a film about filmmaking, which instantly gets my attention. But I don't know what are like the real like need to see them, are kind of gonna fly under the wire TIFF World Cinema ones. If you do, and there's stuff that really interests you that you're gonna check out or you would like to see, let me know down in the comments, because I would love to know. But before I go, I need to mention the film that has been kind of bubbling up under the surface, but is definitely one that I'm most excited to see with a bunch of friends and an audience that has no idea what it's going to be. So there's a Robbie Williams biopic coming out, directed by the man who made The Greatest Showman. There is nothing in the sentence that I just said that excites me in really any way. I don't even know who Robbie Williams is. A friend told me about this biopic, and I was looking it up and listening to his songs, and I was like, even Millennium is not a song that I've heard before. And I don't like it. I mean, Take Back, the band that he was in, I know like the first few hits once I went and watched them and listened to them. You heard all that, and you may be going, okay, then why are you excited about a biopic about him? Well, that's because I have heard that this biopic about a musician does not feature an actor portraying, or at least a flesh and blood actor portraying, Robbie Williams. Instead, and this is confirmed back in reports from 2021, even though the TIFF website does not mention it, the promotional image doesn't have it, Robbie Williams in the film will be played by a CGI monkey. Yep, you heard that correctly. I don't think the film ever justifies it. It never references it. There's just a CGI monkey that's Planet of the Apes, so I hear, quality. That's the main character of the film. Supposedly played by Robbie Williams himself. I heard that was when they were trying to sell it, they were saying that. There were rumors at the time that this was going to be a big awards contender. And now the film is being released in January or February, I bet. But the fact that no one really knows it exists unless you go looking for information about it means that it's going to be a wild time. It's playing at Telluride, so I bet you there's going to be a bunch of reports during that time. But if you go to like a public TIFF screening, and there's a bunch of them, some of them really cheap near the end of the week, it will be an audience probably filled with people who have no idea what's coming. And if you can get a ticket there to sit there and just watch this, whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be a fun time. I mean, I'm excited to see it, even though I have no investment about anything other than the fact that it's a biopic that stars a CGI monkey. for no reason. So if you are attending TIFF, I hope you have a great time. Again, if you have any recommendations, let me know below, and I will try to check them out probably at 9 a.m. during a press screening. But otherwise, stay tuned to this channel, subscribe, because I'm going to do my best to do what I did last year, and any big movies that I see, I will try to basically do reviews throughout the day, and you can watch me get more tired and more sick as it goes along, so you can enjoy the reviews and also see the degradation of a movie reviewer going over 10 days. So I hope you stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.